السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على رسوله أفضل الأنبياء والمرسلين وعلى تابعيهم ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. We like to start with making dua to those who are devastated by the earthquakes in Turkey and Syria. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to be with them, to make it easy on them. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give cure for those who are injured and help them to find those who are missing and feed those who are hungry, and most importantly, give warmth for those who are cold. It is extremely cold right now, and people there are really struggling to find something to warm themselves up. And we ask Allah, those who died, He will grant them highest levels of Jannah and gather them with the Shuhada, Ameen, and the Prophets. We ask Allah that will be among those who help them. Allah, it's so beautiful how the community got together, and the amount of donations and support that's going out is extremely impressive. So let's keep it up. There are several drop locations. There are several organizations that can give money, but be wise and smart in the things that you give out. Don't give old clothes. Don't give stuff that's been used. New clothes only. Don't send summer clothes. They need winter clothes, gloves, socks, scarves, jackets. Please don't send high heels or stuff that are no benefit in it whatsoever. So think about it and look about people who are in the cold weather outside their homes, and they're looking for something to warm them up. So Jazakumullah khair, those who helped and those who can still help, because time is not out yet. They're still going to need our help for many months to come, inshallah. We'll be there to help them. Today, inshallah, we continue with the topic of Al-Halal and Al-Haram from this book. And we finished last time talking about the rulings of the food and the slaughtering. Today, we talk about something that I thought it never mentioned in such details in our religion, which is hunting. To hunt or capture animals for the sake of eating them. And this topic is extremely detailed and structured in our Sharia, in our fiqh, and it has a lot of rules and regulations in it. Why? Because people used to do that a lot when the Prophet ﷺ came. People used to hunt a lot. So when you hunt an animal, you don't have the same rules as the animal that is domesticated. Like when, as we said last time, a chicken, a cow, a goat have to be slaughtered in a certain way, and it has rules and regulations. When it comes to hunting, it's a little bit different. You don't slaughter an animal when you hunt it. You actually shoot it, or either with an arrow or with a gun, slingshot, stuff that will actually kill it in a way that you don't get the chance to slaughter it or cut its arteries so it can clean up from blood. So the ruling for hunting is a little bit different, or actually a lot different than when it comes to the domesticated animals. The rules actually could be related to the person who's hunting, the hunter himself, the tool that's used to be hunting, to hunt, and the animal that's been hunted. Each one of these three has its own rules and regulations that should be followed in order for the dhabiha, or the food, is to be halal, to be eaten or consumed. So when it comes to the hunter himself, he has to be either a Muslim, a Christian, or a Jew, or any religion that applies to it the same rule. So that the hunting person, the hunter, should be one of these people. So if I'm going on a trip to South Africa, for example, or the jungles of the Congo, and I find a hunter who's going to invite me to food, and he's worshiping an idol, I cannot eat from the food that he hunts, because he's not worshiping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this is a very important situation that could happen. If you're going to China, if you're going to a place that you go out on a hunting trip with somebody, and they are not Muslims, they're not Christians, they're not Jews, they don't worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then we are not permitted to eat from that hunted food. Number two, and it's very important, that the hunting process is for the sake of eating, not for the sake of fun, not for the sake of sports. It's not just for the sake of wasting time or just wasting souls. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, whoever kills a bird for the sake of fun, that bird on the day of judgment will say, oh Allah, this person killed me for the sake of entertainment, not for the sake of benefit. So we cannot eat animals that have been caught for the sake of entertainment. As we said last time, bullfighting, when they kill the bull in the middle of the sports arena and then they slaughter it, well, this bull died not by hunting, not by slaughter, it died from sport. We are not supposed to eat that food. Why? Why would Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say don't eat it? It's the same, it's clean. Because He doesn't want to encourage us to have fun killing animals. You know, these people who travel for hunting trips and just for the sake of shooting animals and taking pictures with them, that's against the teachings of Islam. Even if it's an animal that could be eaten. People go kill zebras, giraffes, lions, and they take pictures with them. Even if the animal could be eaten, we as Muslims were not supposed to eat an animal that was hunted for the sake of sports or fun. Only for the sake of eating. So if someone likes to hunt, a lot of brothers in the community, they like to hunt. They have guns and they go out and hunt. So they should change their intention that they're going to hunt for the sake of eating. And they should not hunt more than they need to consume to eat. In another hadith, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, any human being who kills a bird or larger for the sake of without a good reason, without beneficial reason, Allah will ask you about it on the day of judgment. They asked, oh Prophet of Allah, what would Allah ask about on the day of judgment? Allah will, what should He do? He said, either kill it for the sake of consumption, like eating, and do not just kill it and throw it away. That is not something allowed in Islam. Also, another condition for the hunters, that he should not be going for Hajj or Umrah in Halat al-Ihram. When you go for Umrah, we're not allowed to catch anything. That's why the pigeons are so peaceful, at peace in front of Mecca, in front of the Haram. Why? Because no one's supposed to harm them, no one's supposed to hunt them in Mecca. All right? So this is the other reason. Even if it's right in front of you and you get the chance to capture that animal, if you are in Ihram, you're not supposed to hunt anything. So these are the three conditions when it comes to the hunter. Now when it comes to the animal itself that have been hunted, of course, the birds and the fish and the creatures of the ocean, there is no rule. You can eat even if it's dead. But when it comes to the animals that are on the land, we cannot hunt an animal that could be slaughtered. I cannot be hunting a goat. I cannot be hunting a cow. I cannot be hunting a chicken. That's not supposed. Unless it's running away and I cannot catch it, that's a different story. As we said, the Prophet ﷺ, once there was a camel who ran away from the people. So the Prophet said, it's okay, you can hunt it. You can shoot it with something, you can catch it before you lose it. But normal situation, we're not allowed to hunt or try to hunt an animal that could be slaughtered in the normal way. So that is number one. And if you hunt that animal, you shoot it or you send a dog after it to catch it for you, and you catch it before it dies, we're supposed to slaughter it. So let's say you shoot a bird and it falls in front of you still alive, you slaughter it right there and then. If you did not catch it and it dies before, that's okay. It's not a big deal. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, if you send your dog to catch an animal for you, say Bismillah, and if it catches it and it's still alive, slaughter it. So if a dog catches a rabbit for you and brings it to you and the rabbit is still alive, slaughter it right there and then. If it's dead by the time it gets here, it's okay. So that is what the hunted animal's condition. Number three, the tool itself. The tool that we're supposed to use to hunt. It's either a tool or an animal. A trained animal. The tools have to have two conditions. First, it has to go through the body of the animal. It cannot be a rock that you hit it and you hit that animal. It has to be a sharp thing that goes through the body of the animal. Either an arrow, a bullet of a gun, a knife you throw it, or a spear, but nothing like a big that hits it from outside and kills it without going through. So that's number one. A And number two, that to say Bismillah when you're shooting. So you are aiming at a bird, you say Bismillah, you shoot. You're aiming at a deer, you say Bismillah and shoot. So these are two conditions that when you are using a tool. When you're using an animal, people use animals and train them to hunt for them, like dogs, like falcons or birds. Like, in the desert, they put those birds on their hands and they go catch another bird and come back to them. That was known technique to catch or hunt animals. So also these have to have conditions. Number one, that it has to be trained to do that. It cannot be an animal that just out there catch something for you and brought it to you. No, it has to be something you trained, and by telling it, go. So that's what people do. We'll have a dog, say Bismillah, go get it. And they will go and catch the rabbit or whatever the animal that should be got. So, and number two, it should catch under your instructions, not for its own food. So if you train a dog to be a hunting dog, and that dog just caught on its own a rabbit or a bird, we're not supposed to eat from that. It's supposed to be instructed to go catch that for you. It was intended to go that way. So we don't eat from the food of the animals. So these are the three conditions when it comes to the animal. And the animal should be easily trained, like easily instructed or commanded. So in other words, it should be well trained to do what you're asking it to do. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, if you send your dog that's trained and you say Bismillah, so eat from what the dog caught for you, even if it dies before you get it, except if the dog ate from it. If the dog eats from it, that's it. We're not supposed to eat from it anymore. All right? Because if you eat from it, maybe the dog was catching it for its own, not under your command, not under your training. So that is what the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said. And that's why Imam Malik, for example, he says that the dog's saliva is not najis. It's pure, because we're allowed to eat from the animal that the dog catches. Remember, I told you three opinions about the dog. One group of scholars say that the dog is najis completely. Every single part of it is najis. If you touch it, you have to make wudu. If it touches your clothes, you have to wash it. We cannot pray with it, even if it's tail or its leg or its body. The other group says no, saliva and nose and tongue. If you touch that, that's najis. You have to wash it. You have to make wudu. You have to clean your clothes. Don't pray with him. But Imam Malik, one of the four main imams, he says nothing in the dog is najis. And because of this, because the dog is allowed to catch something for you and bring it to you and you can eat it. So you can follow any of these opinions. The most safe opinion is, or easiest and safe, because we live in this society, is that you go with the opinion that the saliva and the nose and the tongue is najis. Because otherwise you're going to make wudu all the time and you have to throw your clothes all the time, because dogs are living with us all the time, right? They go around, people take them every place. All right. So back to the hunting. So if you find the animal die after you hunted it, let's say you shoot a bird and you lost it, you could not find it. Later on, you found it. Then there are three conditions whether you can eat it or not. Number one, it did not fall into water. So if you hunted a bird and it fell into a lake and you could not find it till the next day, if it went into water, the Prophet ﷺ said, do not eat it. He said, if you shoot with your arrow, with your arch and arrow, and say Bismillah. If you find what you caught, then eat from it. If you found it fall into water, then you don't know if your arrow killed it or it died drowned from water, so don't eat from it. All right? Now, if you really find it right away, like you should have went to the water, you catch it right away, that's okay. But if it comes after a while, then we're not supposed to eat it that way. Number two, if you find something else ate from it. You hunted a bird, it fell, you found it the next day, but it looks like something else ate it, something else killed it, then we're not supposed to eat it. And number three, if it has a bad smell or it looks like rotten, then we're not supposed to eat from it. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, if you shoot with your arrow and you miss the hunted animal for 3 days, and you find it after 3 days, eat from it as long it is not rotten. There is no smell or there is no signs that it got bad, became bad, spoiled. So these were some of the rules about hunting, and subhanAllah, there's a lot of people in the community who like to go hunting. Just keep that in mind. Hunting is a nice sport, but keep in mind that do it for the sake of consumption, not for the sake of entertainment or killing animals. You like your guns, you like your weapons, hunt, just say Bismillah and eat what you hunt. Don't just hunt and throw it away, because Allah will ask you about those animals that you killed without a justified reason. Dogs and other animals are trained, and we can just say Bismillah and send it to catch the animal for us. We can eat from it. The same thing when you're shooting, say Bismillah, shoot it. If you catch it, you can eat it. If you lose it and you cannot find it, after several days, if it's not in water, if it's not eaten by another animal or bit by another animal, if it's not rotten, then it's still okay to be consumed. So we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us among those who understand and apply in their lives the things that we learn from our fiqh and our sharia. Any questions? Yes?
The slaughterhouse in Chile, they shoot the cow because they cannot...
They shoot it with a gun?
No, yeah, with a gun.
Electrical gun, right?
Right.
Yeah, and then they slaughter it right away.
Without slaughter, can you consider like hunting?
No, because you cannot catch it.
No, they shoot the cow. And let's say, do you have to slaughter before that?
Yes, and they do. Usually they shoot it and they jump in the slaughter, right? Every once in a while it might die before they slaughter it, but the general rule, or we go by what happens usually, it dies after they slaughter it. The gun will just make it lose conscious and they slaughter it right away. So that's acceptable, that's allowed. All right? And we talked about it last week in more details, the difference between the dhakat shar'iyya, which is saying Bismillah, and the slaughtering process, and what are the different opinions between the scholars. Did I answer your question? What else?
Can you consider the hunting? Because it's very
No, because hunting has, I don't think the cow will count as a hunting. Because normally people do slaughter it, right? In all over the world. So if it's running away and you shoot it,